It's been over a year now that I've had my Steam Deck ever since it arrived on the front porch, and from using it through all of this time, there were many features and accessories that I have since purchased in order to better enhance my experience. And so now, with over a year of experiencing the Steam Deck, you may wonder, has my opinion changed after using it for so long? Join me today as I tell you about my 1-year milestone of using the Steam Deck.
To begin, it is undeniable that the older you get, the more you realize that there isn't as much time to delve into video games as there used to be when you were younger. With this in mind, the arrival of the Steam Deck changes this aspect by allowing you to bring your games, including its progress from your computer, directly to this portable device. There's a twofold benefit to this. Firstly, the expectation of great performance and manageable controls are met with the Steam Deck, providing the best portable experience on the go. So for me, I found myself using the Steam Deck on a flight that was roughly around 5 hours long, and throughout the duration of the flight, I was able to play a variety of games without any hiccups in performance. Secondly, the inclusion of SteamOS as the primary operating system makes this device more versatile than my main desktop that runs Windows 10. Given that Proton, the compatibility layer used to run unsupported games for Linux, is also developed by Valve, there's no shortage of support that the community has seen from Valve. The decision to use Linux makes the Steam Deck far more flexible than what you're going to find in, say for example, a laptop, since the SteamOS distribution is going to give the end user absolute control over their device and software. Also, this makes the Steam Deck directly linked to your Steam account, thereby synchronizing all of your games and their progress saved in the Steam cloud. I can't emphasize how important this feature was to me, as I had a lot of content from my desktop that I was looking forward to playing on the Steam Deck. You see, these two aspects were very important considerations for me when I was looking into the Steam Deck, because based on the many consoles that I've used previously, performance was always a concern, that I would not be getting the same frame rate in addition to refresh rate that my desktop could provide. And the next concern that I had with consoles is that the proprietary software does not provide room for any additional customization. This, of course, may not be a problem to you, but for those of us that like to customize and play around with the settings in depth, this was a feature that had to be available. The next benefit of using the deck was definitely an unexpected one for me, and it was when I was looking for games that were verified when I was first starting out, which ultimately got me to install a number of games that I never considered to play on my desktop, because if you're like me, you probably have dozens, if not hundreds of titles you've yet to even install and play. As a result, I'm now more open to playing certain types of games that I would have never thought of playing on the desktop, such as platformers, visual novels, and role-playing games. The compact nature of the Steam Deck makes it easy to play these games anywhere, and I often find myself jumping into new adventures everywhere but my desk. But for those of you who don't have a Steam Deck, you may wonder if it's possible to play games that aren't verified. Well, the answer is a resounding yes, and in my own experience, I've actually seen many unsupported games play as if they were verified for the Steam Deck. So basically, as long as the game has controller support, there's a good chance that you'll be able to play it flawlessly on the deck. If not, however, you always have the option to customize the controls to your liking, and when I say this, you might have the idea of a rudimentary control setup, but did you know that the Steam Deck has probably the most customization settings you've ever seen in any device? Check this out. These are the options you have when you're looking to customize the controls for any game or application for the Steam Deck. You can even go as far as to have layers within your control scheme to provide the most flexibility to suit your playstyle. In many cases for me, I've changed the controls for games where I typically use a combination of keyboard shortcuts, providing me a near identical experience as I would have on my desktop. Moreover, the way the Steam Deck feels in my hands is very comfortable. Its ergonomic design allows my hands to grip the device with easy access to the buttons, both on the front and rear section. So whether I'm on an airplane, at a desk, or in bed, I never feel that my hands fatigue when I'm holding the device, even during long sessions. Another feature that the Steam Deck offers that the competition such as the Nintendo Switch don't have is the ability to emulate. In my childhood, I remember playing the PlayStation 2 extensively, hitting all of the classic titles, which include one of my most favorite fighting games of all time, Diff Jam Fight for NY. By now, you probably know what I'm going to say already, which is that the Steam Deck is fully capable of emulating a wide variety of consoles, many of which are probably staples from your childhood. Amazingly, it can also emulate the Nintendo Switch through Yuzu, whereas the Switch can't emulate the many offerings that the deck has. This opens up many possibilities for you to relive legendary moments on virtually any console from previous generations through EmuDeck, a must-need for any deck owner. And when I was using the Steam Deck throughout the year, I noticed one particular problem, which was, as I was installing all of the games, including the emulators, I was running out of space quite frequently. As I have the 64GB version of the Steam Deck, it doesn't include a whole lot of space for anybody to install any mainstream AAA title, which will be a major problem if you're expecting to do that. I remedied this problem by looking for a high-capacity microSD card on Amazon, and I started off with a Samsung Evo microSD card with the storage size of 512GB. As you could expect, however, the more games and content that I put onto the deck, space ran out quickly again, requiring me to upgrade the microSD to a bigger size. So this time, I bought the Lexar Play 1TB microSD card, which has since then served me very well with its high write speed, so there's been no issues with loading times. Now, this next thing I'm talking about is something that I haven't done to my Steam Deck yet, but I've heard many other owners doing, so I figured I'd mention it here. It's about upgrading the internal SSD that the Steam Deck comes with. So, for example, many people bought this 64GB model, and instead of purchasing a micro SD to supplement the internal storage, they completely replaced the internal SSD with another 2230 M.2 NVMe SSD for more storage space. From what I've read, this process isn't as complicated as it sounds, and it also doesn't void the warranty of the deck, so that's definitely a plus if you're looking to upgrade the internal storage space. This is also the perfect time to bring up the accessibility of getting the appropriate components to repair your device if it begins experiencing issues with any of the physical controls. If I'm not mistaken, iFixit has OEM parts for the Steam Deck that you can purchase to fix various parts of the deck. This is perhaps one of the most important aspects of Valve's support for the Steam Deck, is that because I know for the next several years, I can still continue to use this device without any worry that support will disappear, since there's an abundance of official and third-party support for the deck. And in the past year alone, we've seen a lot of extra options for customization that Valve has provided, such as custom startup screens that you can purchase with Steam Store points. I personally really enjoy this feature as it allows each deck to have its own characteristic when you boot the device up. Similarly, I also purchased a number of custom overlays for the keyboard which give it a very unique look. At this point, there are so many accessories and cases that you can get for the Steam Deck that it really feels like you're shopping accessories for a phone. But now, I want to shift gears and talk about some things that I did not like about the Steam Deck. First, and probably the most prominent issue for many users, is the short battery life that you get when playing graphically intensive games. For me, I got an average of roughly 2 hours on a fully charged battery when playing demanding titles, such as Ace Combat 7 or Hogwarts Legacy. But to be fair, I was playing on higher graphics settings and full brightness. Still, it would be nice to see a battery that would last longer under these conditions. Another issue that I had was when I was changing the control scheme in a game in which I could not change the layout no matter what I tried. Every time I would confirm, it would kick me out and not apply the new settings. So ultimately, I had to go back and manually change all of the controls to what I wanted. And this last gripe is more of my opinion, but I personally did not like the anti-glare screen that the higher end model had. It reminded me a lot of the 2014 Razer Blade screen, which when you compare that screen to the newer ones without the matte finish, the picture quality looks quite dull. So, looking back at the year of using my Steam Deck, I can say I'm thoroughly satisfied with what it's brought to the table. The deck has been nothing short of transformative for my gaming experience by becoming an extension of my desktop, with the portability, performance, ergonomics, ease of use, flexibility, and upgradability all on point. It was then, and still is, amazing to see how the deck became an integral part of my gaming experience without me noticing how impactful it was. Needless to say, I'm very excited to see what the future holds for the Steam Deck and the many experiences it will continue to offer now and for the many years to come.